Thank you for staying with us. At this point, we'll be moving over to our Abuja studio for FCT Brief, where we have Eshomomo Mudu and Tijeso Adewi, who will be taking over conversations from here. Good morning, guys. It's over to you now.
Good morning, Veronica. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning.
Exactly. Beautiful Tuesday morning.
Well, I'm expecting the rain. I heard it rained in Lagos. It's quite hot here in Abuja, so I'm looking forward to
I guess we'll have the rain today, so that you have nice Wednesday.
I look forward to that.
Okay.
Good morning, Nigerians, and thank you, everyone, for joining us on the program this morning. This is FCT Brief, a segment of TVC Breakfast Show, reaching you live from our Abuja studio. The Senate has announced plans to work closely with the executive to address social-political tension, particularly the crisis in Rivers State. According to a statement issued ahead of resumption of plenary at the National Assembly, leader of the Senate, Senator Nwebonyi Bamidele, stated that the goal is to reconcile key stakeholders and resolve underlying issues in the broader interest of national stability and reconciliation across the country. The statement added that as lawmakers resume, first on the agenda is the further consideration of the tax reform bills 2024. The lawmakers agree that the passage has become imperative to reform the country's tax regime and shore up revenue of the Federation. This also helps governments at all levels to implement projects and deliver the dividends of democracy to Nigerians.
The Senate also raised concern over the resurgence of insecurity in states such as Benue, Borno, Katsina, and Plateau. In light of this, Senator Bamidele underscored that the legislature will intensify consultations with security agencies to develop new strategies aimed at tackling terrorism and restoring peace across affected regions. During the recess, the presidency announced several appointments, including officials of the South-South Development Commission. The Senate is expected to begin screening these nominees in the coming days. Senator Bamidele concluded by highlighting the importance of several pending bills that touch on strategic sectors of the economy, noting that the Senate will fast-track their passage and encourage public participation through committee hearings. To walk us through the itinerary of the Senate and what Nigerians should expect from the National Assembly in the coming days, let's speak with the Senate Deputy Whip, Senator Nwebonyi. Thanks for joining us at the studio this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Nice. Good to have you, Senator.
Now, let's start this way. While you were on recess, we had crises in some states, Benue, Plateau, Zamfara, and all that. Now you're back. What's going to be the priority in dealing with this crisis? I know you were going to talk to the service chiefs, but what kind of assurance do you want to give to residents of these communities that are living in the IDP camps?
Well, thank you so very much for this wonderful opportunity. Let me start by saying that it's regrettable that while we are commending the security agencies for curbing insecurity in Nigeria, but recently we started experiencing the resurgence of this anomaly, particularly in the northern part of the country, precisely in Benue State. You can see what is happening in Benue. A few days back, about 50-something were killed, and it's not very, very palatable. We as Parliament, we cannot fold our hands because, like you know, we represent Nigerians, and anything that affects an ordinary Nigerian should be our concern, as an institution. So going that way, we have in mind to kind of, have an overhaul view of the whole scenario, all geared towards coming up with policies and programs that will actually guarantee the safety of all Nigerians in every part of the country. So in doing that, we have in mind to call for a very elaborate security summit, wherein the security chiefs and other security experts can come and actually, talk and let us find a lasting solution to this nagging problem. In knowledge of the fact that our duty primarily as government, both the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary, is to ensure protection of life and properties. That is fundamental, and that is key and number one. So we must declare state of emergency in this security sector, because we are not happy that Nigerians are being killed on a daily basis. And as responsible government, we are going to tackle it headlong.
Well, Senator, it's not the first time that we're seeing security summits being held, especially by the National Assembly. What assurance would is the National Assembly giving Nigerians now that, you know, resolutions made are going to be adopted and acted upon? And as well, well, I would like you to just first answer that question before I move to another question.
Well, it may be correct to say that this is not the first time the National Assembly is calling for a security summit, but I know very well that for the 10th Senate, this is the first time we are calling for such a meeting. And like you know, and I've always told Nigerians, the 10th Senate is a corrective Senate. We are out to do things differently. This is not the time to talk and it ends there. No, when we talk, we follow it up. In fact, we have an ad hoc committee on Senate that has to do with following up our resolution to ensure their speedy compliance by the targeted agencies. So this is going to be different. It's not going to be business as usual. We are going to work on any resolution that we may come up in the course of this summit. In knowledge of the fact that this is a bleeding truth, and nobody can deny it. And we have all it takes as government, just like we promised Nigerians in 2023, the course of our campaign, that we are going to bring in security, to be a thing of the past. And going by the provisions made, in the budgetary provision for our security agencies, you can see that President Tinubu is actually out, to fight insecurity. But this is an enemy of human being. So we must all, join hands to fight this, and assure Nigerians that in no time the insecurity will be a thing of the past.
Well, you're saying that it is no longer going to be business as usual. So what kind of accountability system should we expect to be put in place to, monitor these security agencies to ensure that, this issue is nipped in the bud?
Well, we are going to use all the avenues, including oversight. Like I said here, we've made a lot of budgetary provisions for the security agencies, which we don't make public for security reasons. So we expect that having done that, the security agencies should do their own part by making sure that Nigerians, are fully protected. And in the forthcoming summit, if there are any areas the security agencies want government, to give them more support, that will be made public. And we are going to advise the executive accordingly, all geared towards making sure that Nigeria all over is safe.
All right. Talking about the forthcoming summit, one nagging issue is the state police, because when the military advances into territories and take over territories from being terrorists, the capacity to retain peace in where they have conquered as they move to another one is not there. Now, because the police is not that equipped. Now, is the 10th Senate and in the forthcoming summit, are you considering also to speed up the action in making it that constitutional change where there will be state police, where governors will have authority over the state police?
Well, state police, ab initio, I was speaking against it, but having been convinced by my colleagues and other articles I've read, where it is operating in other parts of the world, I think state police should come in if actually we want to end insecurity in Nigeria. Because like we said, while the conventional army and police tries to secure our border areas, what happens internally? And Nigerians going by a population over 250 million people with just than 1 million policemen cannot police Nigeria effectively. So there is need for us to look towards state police. In as much as there is a very good and robust legal framework to guide against being abused, Nigerians being what we are. But in all, I think it is time to look towards state police. It will give the governors, more powers and personnel to actually, govern and secure their territories.
Well, with the recent security threats, there's now growing agitation for Nigerians to defend themselves against these attackers, and that will be bearing their own arms to defend themselves. Should we expect any sort of legislative backing from the National Assembly in this regard?
Well, I think that statement is just trying to encourage us to take security as everybody's business. It doesn't suggest that people should bear arms, because I must tell you, by our level of intellectual development as a people, we've not gotten to that point where you can say, let's legalize arms the way it is in US and other developed countries. So, but what that statement is calling for is for everybody, to sit up and see security as everybody's business. We can also have within the village circuit our vigilantes that can gather information at the community level, the same thing, at the local government level, the same thing, all geared towards information sharing with the conventional security agencies on how to tackle this. So I think that is the area we're going to look at. Then creating state police, like I said, of course, we bring more hands on deck to fight this common enemy of humanity. Okay.
While the state of emergency in Rivers was being debated, and while you were trying to approve the presidential order, the Senate President talked about setting up a peace committee of eminent Nigerians. And you went on recess on your back now. How soon are Nigerians and Rivers State people going to, how soon are we going to see the peace committee set up? Because peace is a priority in Rivers State. So are we expected that it's going to come up in a couple of weeks?
The problem of Rivers, to me, we've taken a stand as a National Assembly. It's not between the presidency and other relevant bodies to handle same. But we expect that in no time, both parties will come to terms, and the elected governor will go back to his office, because I'm a Democrat and the National Assembly represents democracy. But we have to do what we did, to safeguard lives and property, which is a fundamental objective of every government. So I believe that in no time, without announcing it formally, I believe that there are stakeholders that are working underneath to make sure that that problem is resolved, and very soon we shall see results.
Well, we've seen Governor Fubara go meet with President Tinubu and also Wike in an attempt to, resolve this political rift. Would we see also the Senate also pulling its weight to bring these parties together to resolve the problem?
Of course, like I said, some stakeholders are working underground to make sure the matter is resolved. As Senate, we visited the state. I was here shortly after that, and we interacted with the stakeholders, particularly the administrator, who is just to maintain peace and order and the further development of the state, pending when the matter is resolved. So I believe that we could not to do this as leaders, and we're having a very good engagement with the stakeholders, from River State. And I can tell you, in no time, the matter will be resolved.
Okay, as a Democrat and as a member of the National Assembly, there was this news out, I think about a day ago, that there are moves by, not the Senate primarily, but there are moves to order or summon the governors of Benue and Zamfara State before the lawmakers. Do you think this will help in addressing, and will you say it's within the powers of the National Assembly to summon the state governor?
Of course, the National Assembly can summon any public office holder in Nigeria, including the governor. Well, the governor is a governor of a state in Nigeria. So if we feel it is expedient, to have engagement with the governors, all geared towards addressing the security challenges in their states, why not? We can't do that. But we're just resuming today. If the Senate leadership deems it fit to say invite them, why not? We will invite them, and they will come.
And these are two, the state is in the federation. The state is an equal federating unit, like the federal government, the local government. Wouldn't it be out of place? Some people say it is out of place for the National Assembly to think of ordering the governor to appear.
No, we are not ordering the governor to appear. And like I said, the National Assembly has powers to invite any public office holder in Nigeria. And governor is a governor of a state in Nigeria. Remember, the state was created by the National Assembly. I think I'm making sense.
You're speaking.
Yes. So the state is under Nigeria. And the Senate is the highest lawmaking body in Nigeria. So the state is not independent. We operating federalism. The state is a component, of the federal government. So there is nothing bad that the Senate invites the governor to discuss issues that will affect the state. We're not at war.
Okay. All right. Okay. The state of emergency in Rivers State hasn't sat well with a lot of people, especially that now that the sole administrator is appointing caretaker chairman at the local level. Is he being given too much power? And would you say going forward, this emergency rule should limit the powers of these administrators to avoid overreach?
Well, my dear sister, I think that is not our problem as a nation, and I wouldn't like to dwell much into that. The administrator has terms of reference in his assignment as the administrator of Rivers State, pending when the matter is resolved. So I think we should use the time to talk of other developmental expectations of Nigerians.
But
from the parliament.
A lot of Nigerians seem concerned about what is going on. So that's why I asked that question.
I've indirectly answered.
So just closely tied to that, I think there was a time you summoned the sole administrator to appear. Has he responded?
We have not done so as a Senate.
Okay. Let's quickly go to another issue that Nigerians feel needs serious attention. That is about the Electoral Act amendments. There are calls that elections should be held in one day to save costs. There are calls also that there should be early voting to allow people like us to be able to vote and those on essential duties on election day. Would it be getting the attention of the Senate?
Yes, thank you so very much. This is another very important topic that Nigerians expect us as a parliament to look into. Well, it goes without saying that the Electoral Act needs to be amended to accommodate what Nigerian feel should make our electoral process better, if not a perfect system. Like you said, before now, we have been having our elections 2 days. The National Assembly election, that of the presidency, will be 1 day. Then the governor, House of Assembly will take another day. But we discovered that these 5 elections can actually go simultaneously in 1 day. And like you said, it will save costs, it will save time. It will also encourage people's awareness in politics, because somebody may come and vote in the next election, and the next election will say, well, let me go for my business. I think I voted. Will I be voting all the time? So we discover it's a welcome development if we can make the whole election to take place in 1 day, because the advantage outweighs the disadvantage, if any. So that is it, and we're going to look at that.
Well, when you say the advantages outweigh the disadvantages, some people would fear that this would lead to further compromise of the election, rigging and all of that, which has been a major issue when it comes to Nigeria's election. Do you think that there's any clause in this bill that suggests that would limit this problem, or would it further worsen it?
Well, like I said, the advantage will outweigh the disadvantage, if any. I've not seen any disadvantage associated with having the election in 1 day. So in that case, we should not cross the bridge until we get there. So on the issue of rigging, I think Nigeria have outgrown that. If you look at the last election, the 2020 general election, it's one of the best elections so far because of the introduction of the beavers and what have you. Because the beavers merely authenticate what happened at the polling unit, because anything that didn't pass through the beavers didn't happen at the polling unit. So it's a welcome development, and we're going to advance more technologically to make sure that Nigerians, even from outside Nigeria, can vote. Just like Americans, through digital voting, they can stay in Nigeria and still vote. believe that as we proceed, we are going to deepen the process. But I must tell you, if you ask me, I say yes, that is the best way we can checkmate rigging and election frauds in our electoral processes.
Well, diaspora voting is also a major concern for a lot of, Nigerians living abroad. They want to be able to participate in elections, but, unfortunately, the Act does not provide for that. Do we see any amendment in this regard?
Yes, it's one of the areas we are going to look at, and I've said it here.
All right. Well, now let's shift to the economy. Tax reform bills have gone through public hearing already. It has been passed at the House of Reps level. Do you think they can pass this? Can it be assented to this year, so that the country can begin to reap from the benefits of this bill, and that is in terms of revenue generation?
Definitely, I believe that the tax reform bill, one, is an executive bill, meaning that it's coming from the executive arm of government. So it being assented to shouldn't be naturally a problem, because it's just like returning to the man that brought it. Going further, I want to really appreciate our president. I've actually, and I will continue to describe him as a man that thinks outside the box. When he came on board, his economic policies shows a leader that is out to make the difference. The removal of subsidy and this tax reform is one of the giant strides of his towards reviving our country economically. And in summary, this tax reform bill will, as a matter of fact, overhaul our tax system and strengthen the tax system. And when the tax system is strengthened, our economy is also strengthened. So it's a welcome development, and I believe that Mr. President will assent to it. And when that happens, Nigerians will start seeing the benefits of this tax reform, which include shifting the tax burden from the poor and placing it on the bourgeoisie, streamlining the tax system. As it stands today, there are so many multiple taxation on one subject matter. So this tax bill intends to address all those things and harmonize the tax system and bring it to barest minimum, where Nigerians can happily pay their taxes. And as you are paying your taxes, you'll be seeing the result on the road, you'll be seeing the result in the power, you'll be seeing the result in all the aspect of amenities that Nigerians expect from government. Because our problem, I must tell you, is that we depend solely on oil before now. So it is President Tinubu that is saying no. No successful businessman does one business, and no successful nation grows with one source of revenue. So, for example, if the prices of oil goes down in the international market, it means that we go borrowing. Let's think towards other ways of generating revenue for government. That is the only way the economy can bounce. There is no miracle. There is no special person that will do it. It's only when we take special steps like Tinubu is taking now to revive the economy that Nigeria can bounce back as giant of Africa. So I must give it to President Tinubu, and that is why Nigerians are clamoring that he should come again 2027, because for the very first time we can see a president that is determined. For the very first time we can see somebody who is not just sitting as president, but somebody who wants to write his name in gold, because anybody that revives our economy to a point we can have enough resources to provide for Nigerians, that person's name will be written in the minds of Nigerians, and that is President Tinubu. And that is why everybody is coming to APC. Without going political, you can see some governors joining APC because they have realized that this man means well for Nigeria, and facts, they say, speak for itself.
Now, facts speak for itself.
Let me just come in here with this quick follow-up question. You say that the pressure will shift from the poor to the bourgeoisie. But let's not forget that these bourgeoisie that we're talking about, they're the ones that own the businesses, that run the economy and all that. How are you sure that when this tax pressure comes on them, it will not still boil down to the poor, who are the major consumers?
It will not, because it's going to be moderate and considerate. It can't be in a way that it will be a burden on their business so that they'll be looking for the poor to dump it. No. What we mean is that some essential services like education, agriculture, some things that the poor consumes will be free, will be tax-free. That is what we're talking about. But if you want to buy a Lexus Jeep, you understand, you have to pay more VAT because you have the money. So the more you have, the more you pay. The less you have, the less you pay. That is what the tax reform is all about, and that is the way it is done elsewhere. Okay. We are talking of how it is done elsewhere. If Nigeria, you can go to America and say America is a perfect system. What was the steps taken towards that perfect system? So we have to look at those steps taken, and we have to imitate them. If I'm a lawyer and I want to be a lawyer, I will go to law school and be called to bar. No be so? Mm-hmm. So if we want Nigeria to be great, it's not by political propaganda, it's not by critics, it's by coming up with tangible economic policies that when we do this, we see this.
All right. Still talking about this tax reform, definitely it's a game changer. It's one way to grow the economy and one way also to grow these respective regions. But also another critical factor that the Senate should also consider is electricity, rising bills. We just talked about the roadmap to electricity. The federal government just talked about the roadmap. And on one end, there's a talk that federal government can no longer bear the burden of the subsidies. So cost of electricity may increase. Now, if you look at the nucleus of every economy, it is the small and medium businesses. If you increase the rates at which people get electricity, you're going to either get them out of business, or it's going to increase their cost of production. So at the end of the day, the tax reform that you've introduced, the electricity bill is taken away, the money from another side. So how do you intend to reconcile all these differences and ensure that your objective for the tax reform is achieved?
Well, it goes without saying that energy is basic for every business to thrive. And you can also remember that when the first step was taken to increase the electricity tariff, the Senate, I personally opposed it. What happened thereafter is what we are going to look into. So, but be assured, and I want to assure Nigerians that we as a parliament cannot fold our hands for their interest to be jeopardized in that respect. We are going to speak for them. We are going to engage with that energy sector from time to time. I think very soon we are going to invite the Minister of Power to address the Parliament on that, what Nigeria should expect, all geared towards reducing the cost of power. That is the only way, I agree with you, that business can grow. Because if, example, a man doing tailoring cannot pay his electricity bills, there's no how his business will flourish. So we are going to look for a way to bring those costs down and encourage Nigerians and even other small business to start up. We are going to do that.
Well, now that the National Assembly is resuming and senators are returning back to the chamber, you know that before they went on the break, there was a lot of drama, and that had a lot of impact on the Senate's image, especially in the public domain. How is the Senate working to redeem its public image, and win back the trust of Nigerians?
I disagree with you that our image was tampered with. Our image is intact. Except that from time to time we can experience distraction, just like you as a person. You can have some distraction from friends and family members. So National Assembly, particularly Senate, being the highest lawmaking body, is standing with the current administration. And I must tell you, this didn't go down well with some opposition leaders. And that is why they were throwing stones on us, just to distract us, but we are focused to serve Nigerians. Even in the midst of those distractions, we have been doing our job, passing relevant laws, formulating policies, engaging on other national assignments. So we're not distracted, and our image is intact. But one thing is clear: Nigerians should try to be patriotic. Nigerians should try to, at times, fail to be gullible. We should try to look at the truth before we respond to issues. If I say that if I call somebody a thief, don't join the person, call the person a thief. Try to find out what the accused person have stolen before you can join the person to call that person a thief. But in Nigeria, you can say somebody is a thief, so say, yeah, he's a thief, without investigating to know whether actually that person is a thief. So it's a very bad habit, and I think that patriotic Nigerians should desist from that. Let us always look at facts before we speak, before we comment on it. So the Senate is focused. The Senate's image is intact. Of course, we have no problem with anybody. Those that we had issues with, particularly our members, have been dealt with in line with our rules and regulations, which we shouldn't discuss this time around because we've put them behind us.
Oh, well, must thank you so much for your time with us, Senator Nwebonyi. It's always a delight speaking with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Well, we look forward to our lawmakers, going back to the business of legislation, lawmaking, and oversight. Well, we'll now hand you over to Lagos studio, where Veronica and the rest of the crew are standing by to continue with the rest of the show.
All right, thank you, Tijesu. Thank you, Eshomomo, for that conversation. We're back in Lagos. It's time now for stories that